Don't worry, DJ Joyryde. I got your tips for EDM, like how to get idea for EDM. How to. Don't worry, okay? Stop, quit freaking out. I got you. We're good. Okay, ready? How to get an idea for it, right? So after I read that comment, I went in here and I started working on. I just from scratch, right? Put the BPM up here at 128 because I wanted it to be a dance song. I've been listening to a lot of deep house, and kind of like dancey music, right? So mostly at 126 or 128 BPM, somewhere around there, for that bounciness. Now you need to know what kind of genre song you're doing, right? So if you're making a dance song, do it at 128 so you can jump to it. If you're making like a future bass song, sort of like a progressive song, like a Illenium song, it's like usually like 96 BPM or 100. And if you don't know what you're like, what pattern you want it on, just do this. Hit this little metronome up here, and it'll do it for you. Like it'll show you your BPM. So that's what 128 sounds like. And like just for an example, this is what 96 sounds like. So obviously that's a bit like wavier, kind of pulsy song, for lack of better words. But today you asked for how to get your idea or whatever. So I sat here for like an hour working on this. And what I do is when I'm starting from scratch, obviously there's not as much stuff over here. I go down here and add an FL keys, and it looks like this if you have the newer one. It's just a piano preset, that's all. I'm going to turn off the metronome. And I just play around with whatever note I want the melody to be in, okay? So I do a lot of songs in E, because it's a happier kind of, you can do like more uplifting songs in E. But I was just playing around, and I like the sounds at and around A, okay? The note A. So this is after like 30 minutes, just kind of jumbling around, kind of making it sort of a bouncy dance song. You need to know the genre in order to come up with an idea for a melody. But really, just sit and put notes together, and it'll come together nicely for you. That's not what it sounds like. I added other stuff to it. But with the FL keys, it'll just sound like a piano. That's it. So, that's pretty dancey. So I needed some heavy kicks, I knew, in the future. But now you gotta worry about the chords. The chords are the hardest thing ever. So, you just make another pattern, right? You either duplicate, don't duplicate this one. Just add another one. And then name it chords or something, unless you can keep track of them. I don't usually name a whole ton of mine unless I'm not lazy. Okay. But then again, I start with another. Where did the chords go? There they are. Okay, so I have two sets of chords here. Don't let that confuse you. Let's just look at one of them. So I usually start with the FL keys again. In this case, I didn't want a piano chords in the actual song, so after I put together the chords with the piano, I just replaced it with a lead and I put, so like once you have your chords down, or once you think you have your chords down, make like a preset for them, like add it to a VST, which is an instrument like Silent, okay? And then just listen to them. Okay. And if you're not sure if that fits with your lead, just add a lead with like the FL keys you had, or just add something to where you can have a lead on top of it, so you can check to see if the lead fits the chords. So yeah, you can hear the lead in the background. That was just so I could know if the lead fit in. And then you can adjust your chords to that, and then you can see this on top of it. So I found that to be pretty useful. And then all I did after I got the chords and lead down was, well, you need to add presets to make it not sound like a piano, unless you're making a piano song, which is totally fine. But mixed, then you go in and you just go through preset packs, just find some sound banks that you like, and just put together a nice sounding lead. I do have a second lead because I tend to do that. So what that means is that after this section, it goes boom and it goes into a second one. I'll get to that in a second, but here's what we add to the first section. So I just did it with my hand, but you can't see that. I was doing this. Hey, we're just going to focus on this part. Right, so I have this impact that you need to have. You need to. I should probably go over. Okay, first of all, you need this impact. You need some sort of impact. Okay, just a crash or something. Doesn't matter. What I was going to say is that now we're going to go. Sorry, I had to move my neck a little bit. Pattern 2. That was why did I say that? Okay, your lead needs to go into the mixer so we can mix it so it doesn't sound like garbage, okay? So let's just take this lead and select everything that we're working with. Anything that's making noise here, you select with your right mouse. You just select it. You select all of them, okay? There you go. And then you go into your mixer and you find an insert and you right-click, channel routing, route channels to the track. That'll put them all into this track so you can put effects on them. So now all of these effects will affect all of these tracks. Understand? So what I usually do is add a reverb. And just, I made this part a little bigger. Pulled the wet down a little. Doesn't need to be that thick of a reverb. Sound goodizer, just a tiny little bit. Because if you have it too high, it sounds like garbage. Keep in mind. An EQ. Move these around and see if it sounds better. Just move them around until it sounds good. That's what I say. Add a kickstart. I'm not going to go over like how to sidechain by yourself. I mean, I can if you want me to, but I'll do that in a separate video, okay? Because that's a lot of like future bassness. This is just simple. If you're doing a future bass song, you need some custom sidechaining. But if you're not making a future bass song, or if you don't want to have custom side chaining, like, I don't know how to explain it, but just use this if it's a simple song, okay? Because it'll just go for every quarter of a beat or however you set it. A sausage fattener or a camel crusher, some kind of distortion, not like crazy distortion, but sausage fattener is good because it's like sort of a distorter. And it just makes things stand out, so it'll make the lead stand out over everything else. What sidechaining does is makes room for kicks and claps and whatever you have in between, those beats. So, yeah. Now what? So you got the chords and I added my bass as the very last thing, to be honest. Usually what I do to make a bass is I just go into the chords and take I take the very bottom layer of the chords and I make a bass pattern, and then I just use 3x oscillator for like a sub bass, and then I just paste it down low and then turn the volume down because it can be overpowering sometimes. Then I also you select that one, so it's a little greeny, and then you go back to your mixer and channel this one to an insert so you can put a kickstart on it so it's sidechained. Okay, the chords, the same exact thing. Just select whichever ones are making noise in that pattern and route them to this insert or their own insert, and then put whatever effects you want on them. You need to have kickstart on everything, otherwise things aren't going to fit together. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like every like the chords, the bass, the lead, they all need to have kickstart or a side chain. Okay. I honestly just picked random samples for this. Except for the impact. I add that impact in every single song I make. Every single song it has this impact. But like I picked these random kicks out of this pack. Okay. You can find sample packs anywhere you look. Honestly, look to the right, look to the left, you'll find one. And then I added a ride, which is what you should add. It depends if you want it loud or not. It just depends on the song, if it's coming through a whole ton or not, and depends on your sample. But this is what a ride sounds like. You have those underneath each kick. Underneath each kick, there's a ride. And these are really heavy kicks, so the rides don't have to be very quiet. And then you add a clap. It goes kick, clap, for a dance song, EDM song, huh? Right? How do you like me now, DJ Joyryde? Do you like it? You like it? You like it all? Okay. There's a clap here. It goes kick, clap, obviously. You've heard a song before, I hope. Next, I add this second layer, or this second, like, section, right? It breaks into this section here. It's a little more intense. I really like to copy the lead from my original, like the first section over here. I like to copy this melody into a new pattern. So I'll paste it into here and then switch it up. I'll just change it up so it sounds cooler, right? You just need to make it sound different. Well, you don't need to, but that's what I like to do because it sounds cooler. Because I'm making it a bit faster paced at this section. Sorry, I don't drink a lot of water. Yeah, and then here over the clap, I just added a quieter snare. I just added a snare, but I put the volume down a bit. And then in between your kicks and claps, you add a hi-hat. Yeah, so it goes. Yep. Yeah, that's about it. And oh, I should probably say, when you're mastering, you don't have to use a fancy ozone plugin or anything, but you can use Maximus. And when you're mastering things, all you have to do is go through each frequency. Low frequency, which is your basses, mid frequency, which is pretty much everything, and your high frequencies, which can get annoying sometimes, so turn them down. So just adjust these two knobbers until everything sounds nice and mixed together. So right now I don't need those because this sounds pretty nice without a master on it. Obviously it could sound a lot better if I worked more than an hour on it, but that's how you make a song from scratch. Not really, but this is like the drop section, okay? And then once you have this drop section, you can just use these melodies to make different sounding melodies for an introduction, and then into your drop, and then, a little breakdown section, and then build it up again, and then drop it again, and then your outro. Yeah, your finale at the end. You can make builds of snares if you want to, like a do. Here's what I do. Whoa, we're not working with that snare, no thank you. But let me, for example, if you want to make a build instead of using like a sample build that you found online somewhere, here's what I like to do. Let me get this on an actual. Okay, you do it like every beat. You know what I'm making right now. I'm just making it nice and quick. You can move these closer together if you go up here, hit snap, and then hit like 1/4. Just so you know. Then they can be closer together. Yeah, so this is like the simplest build-up you can make. You don't even have to pitch it, but what I'm going to do is show you how to pitch it, okay? So, you double-click your sample. You up your pitch to you range to 10. You create an automation clip. I right-clicked pitch and create automation clip. Whoa, look at that little automation clip there. Now you start from 50%. God. And you raise it. You get the end to 82%. And this is what it sounds like. Wow, that's a build if I've ever heard one. And then just have your melody, your lead going behind it filtered. I'll show you what that'll sound like. You don't need to have the chords behind it, But I'll just put the chords behind it. And then I'll show you how to bus these two, which means just put them all in one track and then filter both of them. So we're just going to name this filter right now. And you can use this, you don't have to use this as a filter layer or a bus or anything. A bus is when you take two of these and put them in one, so then the effects will affect both of these. I know, it's like layers upon layers of information, okay. But here's how you do it. You want your lead to be part of the filter, so you go bam, route to this track only. See that there? And then take your chords and route to that track only. Now, if you put a filter on here and create an automation clip, it will affect both of these the same. So you don't have to do it, like, you don't have to put two filters on. You know what I mean? You don't have to put a filter on each, is what I'm trying to say. The filter I use is this one. It's free. And to adjust the cutoff is what we want to do. So you go into browse parameters, right click, create automation clip. If you use the fruity filter, you don't have to go through there because you can just right click cutoff. But yeah, so we'll just have it like this. Wow. And then it'll boom right there. I mean, you would have this before that, but I was just giving you an example of how to do a build. So that's all I got. Have any more questions? Leave them in the comments. Drop a like if you found this video helpful at all. Thanks for watching. I'll just run through this. Here you go. Whoopsies. I forgot to read. What did I do? Oh, it's filtered. I'm gonna remove this filter. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Okay.